Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of KozMatt's Wrestling. I'm AndradeGarza alongside my buddy Aleister.
What's going on, Matt?
Let's go through another episode of Monday Night Raw, despite all the horror that we witnessed from Sunday at Extreme Rules, the horror show. Look, we were able to see some of the top stars make it to another episode of Raw, but I say this because it was actually reported that some stars weren't able to make it to the show, so the card had to be rewritten completely 5 hours prior Raw aired live on TV.
Man, that's crazy, Matt.
You know, I think if they're not able to go live and have their show written in a good, maybe even a day before, we got a problem. But hey, they kind of run into problems. But hey, they did put on a good show for us, so we're gonna jump right into it and let you guys know how they did.
Yeah, it ended up being one of the best Raws I've seen in a while. So yeah, let's get into it. Although we did open up with Raw, we had a crazy recap of the Eye for an Eye match Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins had Sunday night at Extreme Rules Horror Show. It showed how the two stars went at it hardcore, trying to rip each other's eyes out. We then had a recap of Rey Mysterio's injury. Some good news with that. It turns out that the nerves in his eye socket weren't totally severed, so he should be able to regain his eyesight in a short while.
To kick off the show, rather than just the promo video, we then saw Seth and Buddy Murphy walk down to the ring as Seth actually grabs a microphone and brags about the beating he gave to Rey on Sunday and how Raw will run pretty smooth since Rey is injured.
Yeah,
you know,
saying he could live up to its full potential, and he's got nobody standing in his way now.
Aleister Black heard enough of them talk and actually runs down to the ring and he beats the hell out of Buddy Murphy and then goes for Seth, but Seth actually runs away. We then cut to commercial and then we come back with Aleister Black actually facing off with the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Black was a hard hitter in this match, you know, like he always is. He hit Rollins right in the chest pretty hard, setting him outside the ring. Black does go for the Black Mass, but actually misses. Seth does capitalize, and he actually does get the win over Aleister Black. So, as the match actually ended, Murphy and Seth brutalized Black, stomping his hand onto the announcer's table. So this is kind of like another Rey Mysterio bout that they did. They're trying to hurt another person.
Yeah, and you got to give Seth credit after that intense match he had with Rey just a few short hours before his match with Aleister Black, for him to put on the performance that he did. All the respect to him.
You know, I gotta give him complete respect. They did put on a hell of a show.
After that crazy beatdown, we then see Bobby Lashley and MVP backstage going over how MVP won the United States Championship by forfeit, seeing how Apollo Crews couldn't compete on Sunday due to a medical injury. We then see the Hall of Famer Ron Simmons giving them a pep talk backstage as R-Truth appears.
John Cone appears as Shelton Benjamin comes out of nowhere and rolls up R-Truth to win the 24/7 title. After the break, we then cut to MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley head down towards the ring as Cedric Alexander and Ricochet come down and introduce their new tag team partner as Mustafa Ali's music hit.
With these three competitors, I think you're going to see high-flying action, and I can't wait to see what this team can do in the ring.
They rush towards the heels as we head to commercial and then come back with MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin facing off against Cedric, Ricochet, and Mustafa Ali.
Shelton Benjamin was a very good addition to the Hurt Business, as they call it, and really showed he can still do it in the ring, putting on a few good moves. And it ended up Mustafa Ali getting the win for his team by hitting a 450 splash.
You know,
what a great way to return.
These six talented stars, we were given a great match.
After the commercial break, we then see Randy Orton, the Viper, backstage, talking about all his big moments that he's had in the WWE, but nothing will top ending Edge's career and sending him on the shelf via injury.
You know, Randy's a nut, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I dig it so much. Him as a heel, oh, it's so great. But just wait till he turns face again. Oh, that's just all going bye-bye.
Well, I didn't think bringing back the Legend Killer was such a good idea. I have to admit, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm liking it a lot.
After the commercial, we then see the legendary Ron Simmons backstage with the Viking Raiders talking to them. Then we cut to a promo with the Big Show and how his career gave him one of the best names of all time.
Yeah, 25 years of the big man showing his skills in the ring, and I gotta say, for him to last 25 years and still not look like he's lost his step is very impressive. The promo with the Big Show really geared us up towards his match with Randy Orton later that night, an unsanctioned match. The announcers decided to call up Christian via satellite, seeing how he had an unsanctioned match with Randy just a few short weeks ago. He said he will never look at Ric Flair the same ever again, calling him really the dirtiest player in the game.
You know, Christian actually says how he can't wait to see Big Show knock Randy down on his ass. So, hey, you know what? I hope Big Show does give a good hell of a fight, and I think we were just given that. But then the EST of WWE shows up and explains that she's here to help her best friend Ruby Riott out from the Iconics. Royce rolls up and talks trash as her and Ruby actually head down to the ring for a match. So Ruby, you know, she's had enough of this trash talk by the Iconics as she then hits Peyton Royce with the Riott kick to get that easy 1, 2, 3 count.
Yeah, Billie Kay wasn't there, so Peyton Royce had no backup, and it was interesting to see Ruby Riott get the win. After that match, we head backstage with Zelina Vega, Andrade, and Garza, talking about how they're ready for their match with the Street Profits tonight. It was a non-title bout, but a win over them would show big and show that they're ready for those Raw Tag Team Championships.
Right after the interview with Andrade and Garza, the Street Profits actually go and blindside them as we then cut to break. And then after the break, we saw the Street Profits then take on Andrade and Garza inside the ring. This match was all serious as Dawkins was all fired up from a few exploder suplexes and a good couple pop-ups as Montez Ford hits Garza with a crazy frog splash.
Dude, he changed his direction in midair. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. It just shows his athleticism in the ring.
This helped them get the big win over their opponents, you know. After another break, we then saw Selena yelling at her men, telling them she has to fix them because they ruined their opportunity in the tag team division.
It was funny to see Andrade and Garza actually seem to be on the same page with Selena yelling at him, so we'll see where that goes. Bayley and Sasha then make their way down to the ring. Sasha holding that Raw Women's Championship, calling herself the new champion. We then cut to a promo of Asuka spitting her green mist in the ref's face and Bayley putting the shirt on of the ref, counting the 1, 2, 3 for Sasha to get the supposed win.
You know, it was a little bit of something that I wouldn't expect.
It was a little questionable.
But it was actually pretty cool to see that. But then Asuka and Kairi come down. They had enough of the talk. And Asuka says that it was an unfair win. And Stephanie McMahon actually shows up on the screen saying that next week Sasha will actually face Asuka. And if Bayley interrupts, Sasha loses her title.
Yeah, saying there's no championship advantage for either superstar, seeing how they both didn't win. So you could lose the match and lose the title via disqualification, countout, or other opponent interference.
We then head to the match with Bayley versus Kairi Sane. Bayley hits Kairi with a hard elbow drop back and forth, then hits her hard again with a few blows to the back of the neck. You know, it was a pretty wild match, but then Kairi ended up getting the huge upset win from that devastating roll-up pin. That roll-up. And then we cut to Drew backstage. He kind of told us he wasn't feeling himself today, and he was going to go down to the ring to explain what the future of Drew McIntyre is. So it's going to be interesting to see what went down. But then he headed down saying that Dolph Ziggler, matter of fact, did almost have him. You know, Dolph did put on a good fight. I will give him that.
He used his ability to pick the stipulation very well.
But the man that Drew McIntyre is, he said he wanted a real worthy opponent for SummerSlam. Then Dolph enters and Drew tells him how he feels embarrassed for him. So he starts to walk away, but then Dolph actually grabs Drew and Drew just hits him with a huge headbutt. Drew walks away, but Dolph then grabs the mic and says how much of a waste a match with him again would be. But then he tells Drew that he gets to pick the stipulation this time around, and Drew will let him know this time that stipulation is what he wants when the bell rings. So it's kind of iconic, or ironic, I'm sorry, from what we saw at Extreme Rules, how Dolph picked the stipulation and he told him.
The roles are reversed.
Big Show is then shown backstage as he cuts a promo about how deadly the Viper is. He knows Randy has been a snake and so deadly for all this time, and he knows he is worthy of the name the Legend Killer. But then we fade to black and head to commercial and come back as we head to the main event of the evening as both men come out to the ring. Big Show starts the match going after Randy, hitting him with a few hard strikes, sending him right into the corner.
Yeah, Big Show really used the experience that he's had with Randy Orton, trying to damage his injured collarbone that he's had for a while, and really use that to his advantage. The Big Show certainly looked strong in the opening moments of the match.
When it comes to manipulation, I think Randy Orton is the best manipulator in the business. He knows how to work somebody well, and he did just that tonight.
Out of nowhere, somewhat surprisingly, we see AndradeGarza and Andrade come down to the ring, helping the Viper Randy Orton, setting the Big Show up for the punt kick on the outside of the ring.
You know, the Viking Raiders actually come out to get rid of Garza and Andrade to finally let the match come back to normal. And after some hard-hitting strikes by both men, He puts out a table and goes on the middle rope, Big Show, to hit that big leg drop on Randy Orton, but Randy Orton actually moves and then hits an RKO on the big man as he kicked out at 2. After then a devastating DDT by Randy Orton, he had Big Show in the bag and hit Show with another RKO for that 1, 2, 3. You know, after the match, we then, Randy Orton, he went for that huge punt again and told Show that another legend is once again dead. So
yeah, what a great way to end the show, man. Seeing both these veterans of the sport go at it one more time in the main event, showing that they still have it.
You know, I think Randy Orton is indeed on top of the business.
I could see him winning a championship in the very near future. Well, guys, that was it for this week's Monday Night Raw. All together, for them throwing it together at the last minute, I thought it was a very good match. Let us know what you thought about it, and let us know what you thought about Extreme Rules this past Sunday.
You know, it certainly lived up to its standards. So, happy to see another Raw through the books, and I think it was pretty good. So, as always, guys, take care and be safe, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
See ya.